beloved, mighty companions sent by God to light my way, actually. I'm like, that's so touching. It's like being on a runway surrounded by lights. Okay, here you go. You're lined up with the mighties on all sides, no place else to go but up. How precious. How precious. So I think I've mentioned the fireside chats with Jesus that happen in the hot tub down there. I ask him, is this in purpose? He says, yes, when it's given, it's in purpose. And it's so nice to have that unwind from the ideas that I had about the I, about what's spiritual. It's so helpful when he helps us with that. So he's telling me you had a lot to unwind around ideas around spiritual. You remind that we all do. You see, he's just reminding me, he doesn't point fingers at anything. He just shows us how far we've truly come and the beauty of how often we truly have heard him. And he's reminding me today about that. It was beautiful. I was talking to Rita. We were waiting for the bus. And it was so beautiful because he started reminding me of all that time and space things that have occurred. And he'll bring those back into memory so you can see where he's arranging time and space for you in ways that are just inexplicable. And yeah, Maskin, can I tell this story about, is it helpful, right? Because we were talking about stories today, and we want stories to be used by Jesus. Everything that comes out of this mouth is to be, there's so much happiness to use by Jesus, to be given to God for God's use. And that's perfect happiness, that love. So there were a lot of ideas in the mind about travel that I didn't see. I didn't see that I had some trepidation over things and about taking buses, and planes were okay, but don't put me on a bus, Jesus. No. Like the number, I don't know if this is an advertisement particularly, but the number of times he's put me on a bus in Mexico and Copenhagen, trains. I just, subways. It's really funny. Also, the number of holy encounters in those experiences is so many holy encounters. So I was down with Muji, and I heard to go up to Sweden for a week. I was down in Portugal, and it really, he was reminding me today, like, we cannot be an armchair Jesus. Armchair Jesus means sit in an armchair. Yes, he will help us look at desires. We have to take the assignments he gives us. Otherwise, we can't see that we're carried by him, and that he'll arrange time and space. So I was telling Rita, okay, I heard it, Jesus. Okay, I'm to go up to Sweden for a movie retreat up in Sweden, and okay, and go for about a week. And what day am I to go? Okay, I can feel it. Joined with Helena, if you know who Helena is from Living Miracles, I'm to go up and okay, good, Jesus. Oh, it's a 4-hour train to Porto, and don't make me ride a bus in Copenhagen, which of course had to happen. But anyway, I could see the resistance, you know, so because that's the play. So anyway, so I was telling her, so I go up to Porto, and of course, then you have to keep the metro. And for some, it just isn't anything, you know, and probably won't be your assignment. But obvious for me, it's trust, you know, and trusting my brother and being helped. So anyway, so you know, everything's fine. I fly up to Copenhagen. Of course, he's you know, it was miraculous. A friend who I knew there came and met me and took me on the bus and showed me everything. So it came the day to go up to Sweden, and maybe in Europe you're just used to this, but the I was waiting for the Swedish train to come through and take me into Sweden, like at 6 in the morning. It was like something like 6 or 7 in the morning. It was really early, and the train didn't show up. No train. I'm going, okay, and it looked like the trains are going to be, I don't know where they were. I don't know if any more were going to ever come again. I guess the Swedish trains do what they do. So anyway, I just happened to notice some beings that were standing there kind of in a group, and I went over to ask the girl, do you know anything? No, we don't know what's going to happen. I think she was Swedish. So anyway, so the Danish train comes that goes into Sweden, and they're all going, jump on with us. Now, I have to say that the K character would never have done something like that. Like, oh, you know, I would have evaluated, write a chart, you know, you know, but somehow I just knew to jump on the train, right? No ticket. That's like unheard of, you know. And so, and you may be used to this in Europe, but anyway, the conductor comes by. Oh, no worries, we'll take you into Sweden. Where does that happen? So we take the train into Sweden and get to whatever, I can't remember that first town. You guys might know what that is. Right when you cross over the border there. Okay, what am I doing, Jesus? Okay, now I'm going to arrange it. Go try to get on another train. And oh, Jesus, I have to stop at a station. Oh, I didn't like that. You know, these little objections, but okay, Jesus, I'm going to do it, you know. And I get the ticket changed over. And I'm sitting there waiting for the train. And the girl that I had joined up with, she says, come with me. You know, before I would have pulled out a pad and started analyzing. Should I go? Should I go? No, I just said, okay. I started following, and she joins up with this guy that's Swedish, and they're talking Swedish, of which I don't know what they're talking about at all. And she's just going, come on, come on. He says we can get on the train right here and just stay. Now, here's another train, no ticket. Again, no ticket whatsoever. And he says, okay, come on, get on the train and sit in the, you know, where they serve food, the dining car. And it turns out he's head of the dining car. You just come sitting there in the dining car. So go sit in the dining car, no ticket. I'm just sitting in wonder about this. How do you ride a ticket with train without a ticket? 2 trains so far, no ticket. And along here's, I can look down the end of the corridor. There's the conductor. And not the, who's it? Yeah, right. Who's the one that comes to get your ticket. See how much I read? But you know well enough, that's the guy. And he's coming through, and as he's walking like this, the guy from the dining car goes right, he's like 10 feet away. He goes like this, they come together, and the dining car goes, the conductor guy just walks by like this. I'm telling you, it's like, you may be used to that in Europe, but I don't know. It was like, so anyway, so, okay, so then I get to Sweden and on service, and you know, it's beautiful. I was with Helena and looking at all the thoughts and the grievances and all that stuff. Okay, praying to Jesus every day as we do. Now, you get back on a train, go back, right, back to Copenhagen to catch a bus, to find my way somewhere in Copenhagen to my friend's apartment, get back on the bus, back on a train, you know, all the things, but it all works out, right? So I fly into Porto. This time it's 1 in the morning. And I have to get from the airport to the train station. So that's right. All right. Okay. What do I do? Do I go to, I don't know anything. I don't speak Portuguese either. No Spanish. So there are these two girls leaving and they spoke Spanish, so they could kind of understand Portuguese a little bit. And they said, "Come with us." Like, I don't know what I'm doing. We're going someplace, somewhere near the train station. I mean, this is like total trust. So, okay. So I get in there and I go, and they're trying to explain to the driver who speaks no English whatsoever. And they get out of the car. They get out of the car and they go their way. Oh, so nice, and they go. Now I'm alone, Portuguese driver in the middle of the night. So it is like, and I was happy basically, I wasn't. And so we drive into the train station and he's just going, now it's closed. It's going to be closed. Okay. Now everything's closed. They shut down everything there, I think, in Portugal. I love Portugal. So the Portuguese driver's going, he's going like this. And I can understand just a few words of Portuguese. I could tell he's going, wait a minute. I'm speaking no Portuguese, but here's basically what my understanding is of this. It just so happened that someone from the train authority at 1 in the morning is sitting in the parking lot in his car. And so the Portuguese driver goes over and talks to him to explain the situation. And he calls the security inside the closed train station. They open that closed train station. So I could go sit in the middle of the night. Like, who does that? It was like, he brings Jesus. Jesus does that. That's who does it. Thank you, Rita. He's reminded me who does that. And then so then, I'm taking a snooze on the bench and he comes over and wakes me up in the morning because I wasn't supposed to be. I could tell, I'm not supposed to be in there. But so he woke me up so no one could tell I'd spent the night in the station. So, get on the train, back through Lisbon, all the way down, another 4-hour train ride. And what he's reminding me of is that we cannot be an armchair Jesus. We can look at the beliefs, we can look at the desires. At some point, it's stepping out when he gives us, I'm saying, Jesus, does that mean if these assignments are coming in for everyone? Yes. So we can see that he's arranging time and space as he promises. Except it won't be the kind of time and space arrangements that we want. And I also told read about this one too. And there was this idea, whatever you do, Jesus, don't make me go out of my way. It wasn't quite, it was kind of like that. Don't make me go. I'm just saying, that's how it was, not to go out of my way for don't make me take an extra bus. But that's how it plays in consciousness, right? To deny divinity. So I was flying he's really changed that, need I say, because so many assignments come in. I'm just getting in the plane and landing in the plane from Portugal. And he's going, okay, in 2 weeks, you're going to Israel. But so I was going to fly to Houston from Guadalajara. Now, I don't know if you've taken, the people from the US probably have an idea of the US map, but here's the whole New York over here. I think it's like 3,000 miles. There's LA over on this end. Here's Guadalajara way down here in Mexico. And Denver's over here and Houston's over there, like right here, like an hour from Guadalajara by plane. And the flight that came up was go through Denver with a 10-hour layover. This is where this trust in Jesus is so valuable, because I heard from him, I could hear him. And he said, holy encounter. I said, okay, Jesus, holy encounter, 10 hours. Now it's like, it doesn't matter. Time is not mine. See, my time is not ours. It's God's time. God takes it over. Jesus takes it over and arranges it. So it's like, okay. So I get on the plane, and I'm seeing the less I know about it, the more miracles, because there are no ideas, right? No planning. Fly to Denver, land in Denver, get off the plane. Okay, now it's a little kerfuffling right about there, because I wasn't talking to Jesus, obviously. And then come out and try to go get my ticket for the next flight. And it didn't work. And so I'm like standing, there were kiosks and ticket lines, and the lines, it was like this in there. You know how these ticket lines all over, and never get to the front. And I'm just kind of sitting there. I don't know what's next. And here comes a ticket agent, beep, beep, walks right over to me and goes, can I help you? Like at the middle of this. And I said, well, I couldn't get my ticket. So he takes me by the hand and he walks me over, over to one of the ticket kiosks and tries to get it. He can't get it. He goes, well, you're too early, 10 hours ahead. I tell you what, he says, I said, well, I'll just get some food. He says, oh, you can't do that up here. The whole upper deck of the Denver airport was ripped apart. All the food places closed up there. He says, let me take you. He takes me down by the hand, virtually, down the stairs, down the elevator, goes with me around a corner. He's walking along and he goes, now, you see over here, this is a lounge with leather-lined chairs over there. Leather-lined chairs. You can go just rest over there. And there's a little restaurant like around the corner that you can go, it's just over there. I said, well, thank you. So, you're like, who gets a tour of the airport? I don't know. But obviously, if you follow Jesus, he's going to take care of you. So I walk over, I sit down, and the waitress comes over. Now, this happens so many times, and I know it's happening to all of you too. What's the conversation? She starts talking to me about Jesus. Right in this little restaurant in the middle of the airport, talking about Jesus, how much she loves Jesus. And guess what her name is? This is the Christy. This is how obvious Jesus had to make it here. Look, Christy was her name. We took a picture together and I posted it on Facebook because it was so, this is all he's offering to us to demonstrate, don't be an armchair Jesus. Our function is to go out and join and look at every single opportunity to join and have a holy encounter with other beings. And look for the holy encounter in every encounter. And it's just happened. And for here, and other beings tell stories too. I think Rita was on planes, lost on an island in Bali, somewhere lost in the weeds, literally, on a beach in Bali, holy encounter, talking about Jesus. Flying over the Pacific Ocean, talking about Jesus. Flying to India, talking about Jesus. It's just our function. It's just our function to really, and then the other thing he was talking about here and reminding me of is, now that these joinings are more and more with each other, yeah, he's saying it, trust your brother. When you think you hear an assignment, trust your brother and join with your brother. and really listen to what's coming through your brother on it. And to truly, this is also an opportunity for us all to stand in strength and really listen to Jesus when your brother says, okay, he's sending, and just listen and just say what he tells you, so that we're really listening to him and supporting each other in following the assignments. So there will be so many of these miracles. He can work with us to show us how he's arranging time and space. And then we have so many of these experiences. He can just keep giving us, we are filled with God assignment. The assignments of the one who knows. So maybe, oh, so much love in that. He's saying, spend a little time with me and let me remind you of all the times you've heard me and followed. To be reminded of how much he loves us and is always guiding us. So with that, I'll just continue with chapter 12, Desire for Story. And for Dara, it's page 64 we're on. Where we were talking about the story. The story that denies divinity. The light that's here. We start with the infinite light of being. He says, the story that the emotions you feel are caused by something that seems to be happening. See, that's what we feel something, an emotion, and it'll just notice when emotion comes up, we start coming up with a reason why. The why. It's because I stubbed my toe. Or it's because my husband came home and started yelling at me. It's the story has a because in it. Here's the reasons. That's why he's suggesting we just drop stories for about a week just to see how that goes and a peace of mind from that. No story about anything. So the ego looks for becauses for emotions. It creates emotions through desire. Desire rises up, expresses as emotions. It splits, and the emotions are hiding the split, hiding what's down in the desire category. Beliefs come up out of desire and expresses emotions. And that there's a story in line. In most emotional expression, yes, most emotional expressions have a storyline. The storyline is to hold on to the emotional state, the addiction. That's why, at least for here, I just ask him, Jesus, is this a release? Like, if tears come, is this a release or is it a way to keep? Am I trying to keep those emotions? Or release, let the desire release through? See, the release of the desire, no emotions can arise without the desire for them. You can ask them, Jesus, can any emotion arise without my desire for it? So he's not judging emotions. It's not about going around to your brother and go, what are you crying for? You know, that's other. It's just to look within and ask him what engine is driving this. What's caused, is this an expression of divinity? A divinity expressing gratitude, tears can come. You know, there's so much love. It's just so expansive. Is it the release? Or we know we've all had that experience when anger comes and you want to ramp that baby up. Just ask him, is this desired experience or release? And he'll help with that. The story that emotions you feel are caused by something that seems to be happening is a desired experience in the dream. Nothing appearing in consciousness is true. So we can ask him, in the light of divine being, honesty of God, is consciousness true? Is anything appearing in consciousness true? It's the changing and the moving. Jesus, is anything that changes or moving unreal? So it's the habit of identifying with what's moving and saying, this is me. When see the light doesn't identify with what moves, does the light identify with what moves? See that the light's unmoving. Natural state is unmoving. Thoughts, feelings, and emotions are part of the changing, while the unchanging nature of being is untouched. That's the only way to be happy, is to see what's unchanging and be that. Your function is to recognize this, that you, as divine being, remain untouched by anything that seems to move or change. See, that's how you know it's real. It's unchanged. It's unchanging, ultimately unchanging. So consciousness plays the game of the moving. And Muji tells us the best story about how this woman was meditating, deep in meditation on the infinite, as the infinite nature of being, which does not move. And these beautiful sounds came. I mean, the singing of all the angels and seraphim, and just, and she goes, no, my master said it's unmoving. She went back into meditation. And then these colors and bright things were dancing and screaming across the. She says, no, this is the unchanging. So there's a recognition dawns that it's not, that the consciousness is going to throw all kinds of things out. And we really need Jesus's help to see what's coming to us from beyond consciousness, because of the habit of the mind, the power we have to miscreate different experiences. Adventures in consciousness. So I got this beautiful, so for each being, it's different. We don't want to, as I mentioned, get hung up in all the moving and changing plays in consciousness. So just ask Jesus, because today, Pablo, he's a beautiful being, said, I'd like to share this. And I heard I was to hear it. It's so beautiful. So he started describing, they have a revelation with Jesus where Jesus came and showed him some things. And they were all with Pontius Pilate playing. It was very cool. The power of that is that you can ask Jesus. I could ask Jesus immediately and know that was a mystical vision. And mystical visions are beyond this, come from beyond this world. Jesus is told, but we need him to, we need that to see that it comes from outside of the world. It's a direct transmission, like Helen would have direct transmission. And not to get, it's just a helpful means that used for us to see, to communicate with what does not communicate with words. But it's not a play in consciousness. It can be used in purpose. Love, your natural inheritance, is unchanging, unmoving, and unmanifest. Yet the moving expresses within you without changing your true identity. This is really good. We've looked at this a bit. But that identification with the moving is what he's trying to take us out of, that defining ourselves by what moves, by thoughts, feelings, emotions, what we see. What you see and feel. We were talking about this yesterday. So he's reminding here, in every instance where you ask me, I will tell you what is most helpful for healing the mind. Once again, ask me, ask me. Boy, he's really been honing that here helpfully, because as we get more and more light trained, we just continually go to him. And 24/7, just as he promises. Remember, this need not be thoughts, feelings, and emotions because you made them and thus can see they are untrue. You have merely to notice when you are not at peace and ask with willingness to be shown, just as he talks about in the Course. He's just reminding here again about to ask him, to talk to him, that he's available to help us, and that you can hear his voice. I mean, that's just the biggest take home from this book. And you can look directly at desire and you won't be afraid. If you look with him at desire. Do not underestimate your power as infinite being to immediately focus on light of truth, to accept the correction, and to ultimately see that no correction is necessary. So what does he mean by that? Notice that you're infinite light. The light's here. Does the light need a correction? The light is forgiven. The light doesn't even know what forgiveness is. Infinite, unchanging being. The light's peaceful. So when the play of consciousness rises up, we're not natural to us. It's not feeling natural. And that's when we need a miracle, a change in perception. The perception is coming up that there's not peace here through our desire for the experience of non-peace. And he's just so direct now, saying, look, you're an infinite being. You carry the power, all the power of God. And you can ask the light that. In the light of divine being, do I carry all the power of God? The play of consciousness is to create an experience to doubt we are of God, to cast doubt on our source. You can ask the light that. Is all of consciousness to cast doubt on who I am? Did I choose that to play the game of doubting who I am? And hear Jesus just say yes. But he's just saying, come with me and I'll show you that need not be. Since your focus is on what never happened, as he kept reminding me, I told this story, he'd say, you have a habit of focusing on what not happening. Meaning, there's just this focus on the changing. That's a function in consciousness, to focus. And so that's the play of focusing on it. I laugh about this. It's like a shark. Donna, it's looking for an argument. So the diversity of expression, if you really start noticing, we just start looking and getting curious. It's like billions of seeming objects and colors and shapes and forms and sounds. And then that little shark comes out and starts hunting, picking for a fight. It's going to hone in on that one thing out of just diversity of infinite. Plants and flowers and ants and birds flying and all this diversity. And you just notice, and it's going to look over and it's going to find that little scrape on the floor that your wife didn't clean up or whatever. That's how consciousness works. It functions to find a problem when the light is just clueless about a problem. That's why cluelessness is the best, because you become oblivious. When you're working with Jesus, you'll start noticing things just falling away. Like you don't even notice. Somebody will say, isn't that terrible over there? And it was like, shh. I don't know anything about that. Since your focus is on what never happened, the moving, ultimately, you must see that this focus of functioning within consciousness is a mechanism for the maintenance of the sense of personal identity. This is where it gets funny, because when you start to notice, see, consciousness can focus. It has a functioning. Well, we'll just ask, does the light focus on anything? The light doesn't focus. It just is. It doesn't have that function. So focus is a function in consciousness, in the play. So what many spiritual traditions will do, they'll have you start to focus on the light. This is helpful. That's what Jesus is doing in lesson 44, 189, the ones where he says, okay, drop everything, drop every idea, focus on the light. Because you may have just an experience that you just see, oh, there's this light here, there's nothing else. So it's easy, really. He doesn't wait long in the course for that lesson. It's lesson 44 within the first month. But then the rest of the course is about seeing all the reasons why you're saying you're not that. Not you, it's the play in consciousness. It's nobody doing it. It's conscious. It's not personal. It's helpful to see it's not personal and realize it's just how consciousness play. Then you can laugh with Jesus more when he shows you this stuff. By turning the focus toward your divine nature, the light within, the unmoving. See, we're starting to focus on the light. He's using, that's what he's doing. Yes, I'm asking him. With the course lessons, he's using higher order beliefs. Higher order beliefs are pointing this way to the infinite, in. So he's pointing, he's using focus to let us see where we're focusing on wrong-mindedness, infinite. See, we're going to the wrong mind. Are we focusing? And he's training consciousness. Does the light need to be trained? It's the addiction to consciousness projecting outward. He's repurposing that focus to look and see, wait a minute, there's a light here that's unchanged. Infinite light. Wait, there's something here untouched. And then it's like open game. Show me where I'm denying it. Where am I using focus to prove I'm in hell? So he says, by turning the focus toward your divine nature, the light within, the unmoving, a helpful step within consciousness in the recognition of divine nature, you will ultimately see that even focus does not exist. You'll just see, oh, wait, there's just divine light here. Finally admit it. It's been here all along. In the light of divine being, in honesty of God, does the light come and go? Does the light take a holiday? We need to check in, because that's the play in consciousness. So the consciousness goes like this, light, and then it goes, oh, I'm in darkness. No, you just turned your head. The light's here. You just turn your, Jesus is going, now turn your head back over. Look, there's light over. Oh, right, there's light over there. And we go like, Jesus, there's so much darkness over here. Now let me show you. Look over. That's all he's doing. He's not making us wrong. He's not anything. He's just going, Jesus, there's all this darkness. Look over here. It's like, that's all he's doing. I don't want to talk to you, Jesus, so you can show me there's light over here. Funny. You will ultimately see that even focus does not exist. In the light of divine being, is focus real? Oh, light doesn't know what focus is. Love has no thoughts, feelings, or emotion. Does infinite light have any thoughts, feelings, or emotions? No, he says there's only fear or love. There's only love in the light. The light is love. You can ask him that. Jesus, is the light, infinite light, love? Your true nature, love with a capital L, is. Love doesn't have the word because behind it. The ego's version of love is, I feel love because. See, God's definition is light. No becauses. Are there any becauses in the light? Does the light have a because in there? You can be the light because, see that the light doesn't have a because in there. It just is. It has no except. Does the light have any exceptions in it? Does the light have a storyline? Does it talk about itself and tell a story about when it fell asleep and when it's going to wake up to divine nature? It just is. It's just accepting that. Accepting that salvation's already here in the light as light beings. and inviting Jesus in. Okay, show me everywhere I'm just saying no to infinite. That's all. Thank you, Jesus, for showing me where I'm saying no to infinite. Amen. Love you from San Juan, Kosala.
Oh,
Aw,
so sweet.
it is really.
Oh.